Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back. We're back with another YCS deck profile. This time we are joined by Nicolas, who is a familiar face on the channel playing his very favorite deck, Plunder Patrol.
The same as always, you know me.
The same as always, exactly. So a lot of stuff has changed. We haven't really featured a Plunder Patrol deck on the channel after the release of the Raven. So I was very interested to find this deck list. So you are 96th place. So that is the top 100 players. It's not good
Exactly.
enough for top cut. So you're X3, right? Or
X3, I went 8-3.
all right.
6-2 in the first day and then 1-2 2-1 in the second.
Yeah, just like me, unfortunately. And yeah, solid performance for a deck like Plunder Patrol. There is one other Plunder player that has reached day 2 that is playing in the North American YCS. So you were the only European Plunder player to reach day 2. So that's a huge milestone for the deck, proving that it works and proving that it has what it takes to compete at a certain level. All right. Anything else you want to say before we go into the deck profile?
Everything's good.
All right, cool. And go ahead and show us the space.
So we start off with 3 Whitebeard. I think there's nothing to say about that. Summons from the deck, kind of necessary. Is a tuner as well, so it works well with the deck. 3 Whitebeard. Just like Whitebeard, I think it's necessary to have him at 3 because he has the effect that tags himself out. So because we play Desires in the deck, I think it's pretty necessary to resolve Desires and still have 1 or 2 in the deck. So it's always good to have it at 3. Same for Golden Air. It's the only one card Blackbeard that we have in the deck. So although I would want it to would want to cut this at 2 sometimes, I think it's just too good not to play at 3 because you actually want to have it. If your hand breaks a bit, you just want to have it to have the Blackbeard on the board.
Yeah.
Next, 3 Black Eyes or Ravenwing. I prefer Ravenwing, but yeah, it is what it is. The new addition to the deck brings consistency. The deck brings recovery. You don't make as much minus anymore in the deck. It's just everything the deck needed actually. Now we just need the ships like the Earth one and Wind one, but one can only dream, right?
Exactly.
2 Bluebeard. I don't like playing this at 3 because I don't want to see it in hand too often. I only want this for specific plays that I played with Golden Hair to make a Toad, for example. Like that's one of the only scenarios I want him. Usually I don't go for him with ship either. So I think it's a good extender, but not necessary at 3. And then I play, I think, my favorite card in the deck, 3 Magician Souls with the 1 list.
Okay.
So the reasoning with this is basically the same as I had with the Emancipator format, is that if you play in a format where you don't have a lot of attributes or against decks that don't give you a lot of attributes, the Magician Souls play allows you to actually get the dark and the light attribute for emblem to activate. So you can actually start your first turn with a Liss or a Merc already. So if you know some matchup, like if you play against Prankids, it's just an auto win if you can start with a Merc on board. Or if you play against something else that is weak to monster negates, you can just start with a Liss and then it's just GG sometimes.
All right.
So next, I only played 2 Monster Hand Trap and that's 2 Ashes.
Okay.
I actually wanted to play 3, but I felt like Ash wasn't good enough to play at 3, but also too strong to not play at all. So I decided to play 2, like weirdly enough. Like the ratio doesn't make sense for some people, I would agree with that. But for me, it just felt right. So I tried to play that 2 and actually worked great. If I could have ashed something, I wasn't even like mad about it if I didn't draw Ash, but when I had it, it was good enough.
Fair
So
enough. All right.
I wouldn't play more in that logic, so it's fine. Going to spells, 3 Shipyards. Yeah, one of the best plunder card in the game. It just searches everything in the deck. It gives the monsters the boost that you need, which actually came up in the tournament with the Adignista deck. He had the unaffected monster, I think the Link 6 it is, with 4,000. In one turn I had my Bran, I think, at 4,500. So I could just run over it, but sadly he had the Nibiru, so was whatever anyway. Still won the match though. But yeah, it's just good. It recovers itself from the grave. It just boosts your monsters. It searches whatever you need, and this alongside Black Eyes, it just make it so it does so much plus without going ever minus.
Yeah.
That was a problem that Plunder had before Black Eyes came out. Next, the 3 ship shipping. The only reason I play 3 is because I play Magician Souls. I want to see it with Magician Souls, or I want to see the field spell with Magician Souls. Any of those 2 with Magician Souls, or the 1 emblem I'm playing is just amazing. It almost guarantees a win first game if you go first, because
All right,
it gives
that's
you so much
confidence.
advantage. Yeah, it just gives you so much advantage with Liz. Liz is like basically the best snowbally thing you can have on board for plunders. So if you can get list going, it's just very good. And I only played the 1 emblem. I usually play 2 because of the 3 desires I'm playing, but I cut it down to 1 because I noticed that although desires could probably banish the emblem, I usually do the Magician Souls play beforehand before
Yeah, and then
I
you have
resolve
access to
desires.
it already.
So I have access to it already, and then I really don't like drawing the second one. Even if people say that 2 is good, 3 is good, because the card is actually amazing, yeah, but I think it's just a -1 in hand, and it doesn't really do much except summon something, which your monsters already do. So that's why I want to see it through the fusion spell banish in the grave, but I don't want to draw it. So that's why I
Right.
cut it to 1.
Makes sense.
For the one-offs, I have Cold by the Grave, Harpies, Feather Duster, and Terraforming. Terraforming is mandatory for the field spell. It's even more consistency if you have Magician Souls. You can get to your field spell even better. Harpies Feather Duster, I was afraid that I would go second a lot, actually, this tournament, because I don't usually win die roll. So it was just a comfort add. That's why I also play 41. It was either 41 with the Harpies or 40 without. And I just decided to put it in last second. But it really did help. Like I had matchups that they sat 3 and I opened Harpies Feather Duster, and it was just
Oh yeah, that's
comfortable
insane.
to just like -3 just comfortably without any negates like Imperm or something, because Imperm hits the deck really hard. So it was really good in the moments I drew it. Cold by Grave, I think it's yeah, Ash hits everything. Cold by Grave hits Ash. Enough said. 3 Forbidden Droplets, because this card is insane in Plunders. It gives off so much advantage. Like Plunders get so much advantage through the monsters, the spell and trap zone that they use, the field spell, the
Yeah.
hand advantage, that like using droplets is not even like minusing. You
No,
don't even minus with
you
droplets,
can
so
play.
it's
There
just
are
amazing.
so many broken interactions with droplets alone. Activating a Plunder Patrol monster doesn't require it to stay on the field, so you can just activate the droplet, send it to the
Exactly, yeah.
grave. It's so wild. You get so much free stuff.
It's just insane knowing that you can just activate the effect of Redgut as a chaining 1, then droplets chaining 2, dropping the Redgut in the grave. Then the effect resolves, you get the Lys, you get the Merc, you get the Bran, and his effect, because he got sent from the monsters into the graveyard, still equips itself, so it's basically free.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interactions like this in the deck. Knowing also that if you send a Spare and Trap Zone Plunder Patrol monster to the grave for droplets, acts as a monster card, so he cannot respond with monster cards,
Oh,
even though
that's
it
cool.
wasn't Spare and Trap card, so it's a pretty cool interaction. And yeah, that's it for the spells. For the
All
traps,
right.
I would only have a 1 and 2 booty.
All right.
I've been told by a lot of friends, because we kind of checked the deck before going to the YCS, that I was starting at 43. They wanted me to drop at 40. Apart from my like comfort pick on the Harpies Feather Duster, they told me to cut maybe 1 booty. I wasn't really sure if I should do it or not, but I just gave it a try. I sometimes wished I would draw it more, because I sometimes were searching it with the shipyard.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a good card when it was there.
Yeah.
I didn't miss it at 3, even though sometimes I kind of did. It's a weird ratio
No,
to
I
put 2 or 3
understand.
on
Yeah.
booty. And yeah, I played the 3 impermanences as other hand
All
traps.
right. Only
So
5 hand traps. That's not a lot.
only 5 hand traps, because I feel like if I would draw the droplets, they could give me
True.
any starting boards and I could get through it.
Fair enough.
Because sometimes, like round 7, for example, I started with a Nibiru with Ash, Nibiru Ash with a Liss on board and a droplet set, I think it was. And he just went through this and just still OTK'd me, so like a Drytron player.
Fair enough.
So I feel like if I go first and if I go second and I just have droplets, it's enough because the deck just gets so much advantage to droplets. I just check decks like Dragoon summons with imperms. That's what
Yeah.
I really was afraid of.
All right.
So for the rest, it's fine. Like Bell, I didn't really need. I felt like, and other hand traps, I felt like I didn't really need either. Well, it wouldn't hit me so hard, I guess.
Okay. Cool. So for the extra deck.
For the extra deck, obviously, 3 Blackbeard. I've been told to cut a Blackbeard, but
No.
I wanted to test it. I know
No.
you don't like it. I know you really don't like it. I've summoned 3 Blackbeards actually just once in the tournament, so that theory was kind of right about cutting one, but you always want safety, so you just play 3. If you don't play 3 and then you're in a situation where you have a Blackbeard possibility and you don't have it, it's just it's dead. You can't do anything. Then the 2 lists, self-explanatory. It's the light target, negates a monster, very good. 2 mercs, the banish monsters. His effect to be as a Dingirsu where you protect from destruction effect is just amazing. I've played against 2 prank kits, and at every situation I could go for hard summon Merc, I would just do it because
Makes
it's
sense.
just prank kits can't get over it. They actually can't get over it. They
Nice.
need
Yeah.
2 Raigekis and then they need a battle destruction to get over 1 Merc, and if they don't have that, then you just win.
Yeah.
Then 2 brands. It's the least useful one, although it came up a lot against Adignister because I just banish their field spell all the time.
All right.
And without their field spell, they're just useless because they usually go for Fire Dark as first attribute or Light Dark.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all I need. And as long as they get fire on the board, I can go for Liss and Bran, and that's usually enough. I can
Nice.
just negate their Splash Mage if they summon it. And then I just banish their field spell, so they actually need 2 field spell in hand, or they just need 2 extenders. So if they don't have that, they should just pass, and then you have free game.
All right.
For the other cards I played, we go for the obvious Bahamut Shark Toad. Like I said before, if you had blue and golden hair, that's the play to go for.
Yeah.
It just stops. It's force summon Toad, so they cannot Nibiru you. And then after that, if you have Golden Hair Engrave, you can just ditch something, use Golden Hair and Bahamut for Blackbeard.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because people didn't know how to play against the deck. So what happened once is just I had the Bahamut play, and I summoned Toad Blackbeard, and at the end of main phase, I had Toad Blackbeard with 1 Plunder in hand, and the guy just Nibiru'd me. And I was like, okay, I just negated with Toad. I get a recurrence, so I get the Bluebeard back from the grave. I then had a target for Nibiru in the grave for Blackbeard. So I actually used Blackbeard to draw a card, which was actually another negation. So it was droplets, I think. And then I had Liss, and then Liss effect procs, and I had Blackbeard for another draw next turn. So
Yeah.
it's not really good to Nibiru
Yeah.
in that board. I just did +3 off of 1 Nibiru. That was just so free afterwards.
That's nice.
For Synchros, I played the 1 Dragite because this is the only spell and trap negates we have, and sometimes negating and Twin Twister is just game changing. Especially game 2 if you start and you have a set summon limit. If you can do a Dragite, it's almost guarantee win because usually you do Dragite with a white beard and a blue beard. And if you do that, you'll have the red beard as well as a second monster, which allows you to go for another like Plunder extra deck monster. And you have that security with summon limit and Dragite that they cannot Twin Twister you or something.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good game 2 and 3. The other one is Tenyi Berserker, because I actually was scared of Dragoon a lot, and I played against 2 Dragoon matchups, 1 Subterror
All right.
that sadly he bricked. He bricked the Subterror Dragoon. I ashed game 1. I ashed his fusion spell.
At the
and then
dash. Nice.
yeah, he passed, and then second game, yeah, the 2 ashes, I tell you. And the second game he had the Dragoon on board, but I had the Forbidden Droplets. So It was unfortunate for him. I've never seen Hidden City in his like hand or something.
Okay,
He
fair.
didn't. He
Yeah.
didn't have Guru. He didn't have CD, so it kind of was brick. So sadly for him. Then for the links, I played the one Salamangreat Almirage for the one card combo with Golden Hair. So basically, you Golden Hair normal summon, you Almirage it, then you bring it back by ditching a card, and you have a Blackbeard. So always Blackbeard. And with the addition of the new Black Eyes, Almirage is so much more flexible right now because you can use the red beard for a Almirage now, and you can use the blue beard for Almirage because now if you have the Black Eyes in hand, you can just retrieve the blue beard or the red beard from the grave to hand, and then you can just special the Black Eyes, and the Black Eyes plus this does also Blackbeard.
All right.
Super good. And the last card I played, Geonator Transverser, and that is the only big Nibiru token out that the deck has. Basically, what it does is just it checks if it's linked with two monsters from your opponent and from you, and once per turn you can swap the position of those monsters. So what you want to do basically is like use Whitebeard for this, so you can summon Golden Hair in attack position, and then you can swap the token with Golden Hair, which gives you easy access to OTK sometimes.
All right.
And in some matchups, if they've used their negations already, you can just Geonator and then get their negations and giving them like a Golden Hair. That helps you afterwards in the grave when you kill it in battle. And sometimes it comes up. It didn't come up in the YCS, but I've had one time where I stole the Drytron ritual monster and I just OTK'd because I had the 4000
Nice.
beater. So it's a good card. It's a good card to have.
All right, solid. Yeah. All right, cool. Anything spicy going on in the side deck?
I would say one spicy card. I mean, it's pretty obvious because I play water, but
Yeah.
I think that says it all
Oh,
already.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I played the one Pancratops. A good friend of mine. I always see him when I play him. No, not always, but I've seen him quite a few times. I think 3 or 4 times from every time I side him, and I side him every time I can go second. So it was good. 3 Nibiru, necessary in plunders, I think, in metas where you can play it. Because you can just, the same as droplets, you can just chaining one Redbeard, chaining 2 Nibiru, and it does the same where it sends to the grave, summons the Nibiru and the monster, and then it equips back. So basically same interaction as droplets. The 3 Drolls for decks like Dogmatica Invoke Shadows, for Drytron, things that are necessary to stop those decks functioning. I played the 2 Twin Twisters because I've already got the one Harpy's Fedendasa in the main that I play,
Yeah.
and the Pancratops as well that I mostly use for back row. But I didn't feel like playing a third one because I already had then 1, 2, 3, and then the Pancra 4 out to back row.
All right.
So it's fine. Then I played the necessary triple summon limit that won
Okay.
me more games than I could imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
It just stops the turn. If they don't have a back row, you just win. The
All right.
back row removal, you just win. Like there's no other way to say it. Because most deck will do nothing at 2 summons, whereas you can summon 2 extra deck monsters, or you can maybe summon 1 Redbeard and then 1 negation or 1 banish something. So you're affected by it, but it affects your opponent way more than it does you.
Yeah, you
So
can
it's just
easily get away with 2 summons.
yeah, I can get away easily with 2 summons. That's why I play it. I think it's necessary in the sides
Yeah.
anytime. And then the
White's Howling.
kind of good card, White Howling. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of matchups that would make this card useful. Actually, I
Nice.
expected Sky Strikers. I expected other decks that would like Dogmatica, Invoke Shadow. I expected way more of these. But I
Yeah, that's
actually
really not the meta now. Yeah.
I gotta say I actually dodged a lot of the most represented decks.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it wasn't quite useful. But I wouldn't change it if the meta stays with a lot of strikers and something like that.
All
It
right.
was a good card. Well, I think I started it once, and it came up.
Solid deck. Think it's good, this format?
Uh, yes and no. I think the deck it will always be good if you have the attributes for it. But now it's a bit weird, and I think it will get weirder when once the Birdos Flunderies come out.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it will be good anymore when this comes out. It's all wind. You cannot do anything. You cannot even special if they summon the statue.
Yeah,
I don't
fair enough.
feel like it will be contender at that time, but that's why I love playing Magician Souls, because in those formats you can easily get away with like go first, Liz and Merc, and it
Yeah.
just helps you so much more.
Exactly.
That's why.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Any shout outs you want to give?
Yes, shout out to the Games Tower and every player in that local that helped me build the deck as well. Like they gave me some solid advice in it, and especially to Edin, Inas, and Anthony Lopez. Helped me a lot with this, with my
Anthony
decisions.
Lopez.
Yes.
All right, I know him. Yeah.
Yes, a good friend of mine, also from Luxembourg. So shout out to them and the whole local that I'm playing with in Luxembourg as well, Games Tower. Amazing
All right.
community.
Solid. All right, great performance. And yeah, on to the first YCS stop with Plunder.
Oh yeah, 100%. Next
Oh,
time. Next
nice.
YCS for sure.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.